guys, that's us back again. You'll get my heat out the system in a minute.
Okay, welcome back after that brief intermission there. So, before we paused there for a couple of minutes just to get ourselves rebooted and restarted, we were starting to discuss the result on Wednesday and the impact it has on our managerial situation, the confidence we have in the manager, and what lies in store for the future. So please guys, keep your comments in. If we didn't get round to your comments the first time around, please resend them so we can read them out, because we don't want any of your comments getting not read out or not discussed or anything like that. Okay, so welcome back.
Apologies guys, we were 10 minutes late in the first place, but 10 minutes is always better than 20 minutes. Just checking quickly the volume on it. Have you got my volume set alright?
Yep.
Aye, everything's good. Aye, volume's good, right, so.
Quick shout out to our sponsors, Maxall petrol stations.
Yep. Anybody want petrol in Northern Ireland, these guys will appear and give you your petrol. Without them, we couldn't have our show, so thank you very much to Maxall at the heart of it.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
thanks very much. So,
guys, a couple of comments I want to make before we start. It's been a really hard few days as a Rangers supporter. Probably as well laughing about it as crying. But some of the comments I've seen on social media in general, but our page a wee bit, people being a wee bit narky with each other and falling out and being personal and stuff like that. We don't need that. I think everybody would agree that we're all in together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everybody's entitled to an opinion. You might not like that opinion, but you're entitled to it. So just the best of respect for everybody. And that way we can enjoy a good show. Just want to get us back to where it used to be. There we go.
Yep, so obviously keep it respectful, but I think that, you know, as season ticket holders, as or fans that watch a game in the house, etc., everyone's entitled to their opinions.
Definitely, but that's the whole thing. That the idea of Gers TV and what we want to do is we want to give Rangers supporters an open forum where you can get your opinion out there, where you can discuss it freely with like-minded Rangers supporters. But also, if you've got any worries or anything that we can contribute to giving our opinion, we will give it. But our own opinions might not be the same as everybody else that watches it or the channel in general. But for an example, the questions that I would like to ask tonight, and I want to know the Rangers supporters' opinion on it. Who do you think, if anyone is at fault, do you think it's the Rangers board, or do you think it's the management, or do you think we're fine? A few people told me it's a freak result, which is a fair enough comment. I don't believe that. The stats don't tell you it's a freak result. And I think personally, and just in my opinion again, I think Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is a really nice guy, and he was one of my favourite Rangers players, so there's no personal grudge with me. However, I wonder, and I'm concerned, does he have a long-term plan? And I'm also concerned, does he have the team and the players behind him still? Because at times it looks to me as if some of the players and the management aren't together. Gordon, what do you think of that?
There's something wrong. There's something that's there's just something that's not quite right in general. I can't put my finger on it. Whether it's between the board and the manager, or Ross Wilson and the manager, whether it's between the scouts and who we're signing, there's just something. It's just a lack of click, I think, at the moment. And you know, I don't think Gio, as you said, is a really nice guy, but I just. Sometimes he's I don't know what Gio's tactics are.
That's a great comment. I mean, when Van Bronckhorst came into Rangers as a manager, and hold on a minute, the dog's about to jump on top of me here. When Gio came in, everybody was excited because we thought we were going to get a Dutch style of football, similar to the Advocaat years, which was phenomenal. But we also thought we were going to get some of the leading Dutch talent when we got the Ajax under 18 coach. None of that's happened. That's an alarming thing right away. You hear comments, who's signing the players, who is signing the players, because if, again, I don't know if this is true, but if Gio isn't signing the players, then you would give him a bit of slack. But tactical wise, I mean, just my opinion on this, see the Liverpool game, the referee done us a massive favour, I think, Gordon, right? They could have played 5 minutes added on time.
Yeah, he blew very, very early, I think 91 minutes or something.
Now, we're not slow to criticise referees when we're not happy with them. That referee, in my opinion, took pity on us. That's how bad it was. I don't think it was a freak result. I think Rangers players, the defence in particular, completely down tools and gave up, and that's not acceptable with the Rangers team.
I think what Jurgen Klopp might have meant when he said that, it wasn't so much that the stats didn't reflect it. I don't think he was expecting to go up to Ibrox and win 7-1. So I think in that respect that's what he meant. It was a fluke in the sense that you could play at Ibrox 10 times and not win 7-1. But the way the game went, with our defence crumbling, etc., it was a fluke in that regards. But the stats borne out the result.
Yeah, I think Gordon's a kind of manager's code of conduct as well. I don't think he's going to come out there and rub it in when he didn't need to do that. And again, back to my point, Gordon, I think you agree. If they'd had 5 minutes, if there was another 5 minutes added on there, they could have easily scored another goal.
Yeah,
easily. Rangers plus it down tools.
They were lining up. They were lining up to score in the last 10 minutes. And
now, the thing about this is, probably every Rangers fan's the same in this. We don't expect when Rangers went into the Champions League to go and win that group and everything to be all singing and dancing and fancy. What we're upset about, and what most of the fans I've spoke to are upset about, isn't the defeat. It's the manner of the defeat. There are two different things here. There's getting beat with a bit of dignity, and there's getting absolutely horsed, because that's what it was. Make no mistake, that was a horsing.
Yeah, it was. If it wasn't for McGregor last week, it could have been the same score, if not worse, at Anfield. So we'll just capture some of the comments, okay? And
just tell us what you guys think as well. We might know your opinion.
Why have we let Kent and Alfie run down their contracts? But Mrs. Well, I don't know where I get this from, but I'm sure that we were told back in June, July, whatever, they signed new contracts, or there was a big. They were very, very close to signing new contracts. Just
to clarify that, if I remember right now, I don't know about the Kent one, but what happened was Morelos was in deep in contract talks, if you remember, but then he gets sent off, and we were told that the contract talks have stalled. Since then, the body language of Morelos towards the manager in general, I just think they're certainly not getting on together. And it's not healthy.
And if you look at, we don't want to talk about the past too much, but Gerrard under Ross Wilson brought in players like Bassey, Kamara, Kent, and they went from being players that couldn't get a game at their respective clubs to absolute match winners and really, really consistent. Kamara's not touched a but not ever since that incident in Prague. He's not been the same person. Never mind the same player. Kent, ever since Gio's came in, him and Roy Mackay have told Kent not to express himself on the park, and obviously we sold Bassey. I don't know. Do I want Gio to walk out or get sacked tomorrow? Probably not, but something has to change, and very, very fast.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people saying that they were 2 points behind Celtic in the league. Well, that means we're behind them for one, right? That doesn't mean that's not great that we're behind them. The football in the league in the last 2-3 weeks, I think, has been good. Again, this isn't anything personal against Gio. I do think that the Rangers board have got a lot to answer for us as well.
Well, that takes us on to Rab's point. Hi to Tommy Grant and Mark Dunnett alone in the meantime. But just to pick up what you're saying, can you read that?
Just I've took the specs off.
So Rab's basically, so you're about to say, so Rab picking it, hi Rab, how you doing? He's just about to say, he's saying what you're just about to say. I don't care what anyone says, the board are accountable. So Bassey, Rebo and Patterson, Stevie G left because there's no backing to the players. Gio's the same, lads, the board need to get to and get Dave King in. So it's hard to argue with those points.
We don't know that number, do we?
Guys, we have opened the phone lines in, and you're welcome to call us. If you are going to call us, just give us your last 3 numbers on the chat box there, so we can then identify you, okay?
And if you don't get them, we'll not take the calls tonight.
Yep. David Hurd is saying that the last 25 minutes on Wednesday was tactically the most naive and stupid I think I've seen in a big game. We went 3-1 down, Liverpool brought on world-class forwards, and we kept with 3 forwards and attacking midfielder, leaving our defence without goals and totally exposed. Surely it was time to limit the damage and go to the same five-man defence as Anfield and look to avoid humiliation. Sands should be on before Scott Wright.
Aye, so let's chat about that for a wee minute.
Yep.
A couple of things on that, David, right? I don't think any of us are going to kid myself on here. See the last half hour, there is an argument as well, right, that it was a world-class display from Liverpool, right? They really tore us a new one. Mo Salah came on and he was absolutely unbelievable. We can't match him sub for sub. So I get all that story. I know that people are coming out with the price difference. They've got so much more money. We get all that. However, David's right. This is coming. David's making a great point. This isn't coming down to could we have beaten him at this point. Walter Smith put a team out years ago, you remember, against Barcelona, and we were told it was anti-football.
But we got a point.
But there's a big but in this. After they done it, some of the best managers in the world then went out and done it.
Yeah.
We were always told that football moves on and you learn from new tactics and everything else, right? If you're going to get a drubbing like that, you stop it.
Yeah.
You stop it. As simple as that. This is why I don't think Gio can last much longer. I don't think when it went to 3-1 that Gio know it today. I really think at that point it was really just praying for time up.
I will say this, like, you know, before the game, when we seen the team, that was the team I would have picked.
Oh, aye. And the other argument is when it went to 1-0 to Rangers and then even half time, Rangers were playing well. We were very, very unlucky with the injury, for Connor Goldson, because I believe Connor Goldson in the last few weeks with Ben Davies have been the partnership that we've been looking for, and I thought Rangers had played great up to then. That's why it's a concern. How can you go from trying to win a match to an absolute hiding in the space of half an hour?
Yeah, some more comments. Stephen McCormack, Gio is not a strong personality to deal with players. I think Gio has got a strong personality in the sense, but he's a quiet. He's got a different way of doing things. So I don't necessarily think he's not got a strong personality. I think maybe he's not the shouty guy or the man manager that Gerrard was. But you've got your coaches and you've got your assistant manager to do that for you as well. You know, there's loads of managers out there that don't shout at the players in their faces, but they leave that to the assistant. Yeah,
I do agree with that. However, there's a few points that really concern me as well. Again, I felt numb for 2 days. I should have done a match video after it. I just felt numb. I really was. I was
we couldn't bring ourselves to do it. I don't think, to be perfectly honest.
I stayed in the ground 10 minutes after the game, and I was just numb, and I wasn't drinking, so I'd one pint the whole night. If I'd been drinking it, I would have done a video and it'd have been hell. So we've left it for a few days, but there is a couple of things that do concern me. I mean, for an example, we have a board that they're telling us that everything's fine with the money, which we don't know if we can question it or no. Nobody's saying we can. But the money that was made with the Europa League, we're then told we didn't make anything like that. We're hearing stories at the Dougie Park who wanted his money back. Again, I don't have any issues with that whatsoever. If Dougie Park wanted his money back, fine, just tell the fans what's going on. But to lose so many goals so quickly, and to hear the manager coming out and saying, first of all, he needs time to process it because he can't take it in, and then to hear to see the manager when it goes to 2-1, he's got 3 subs lined up, and it takes him 10 minutes to bring them on. And the 3 subs, I'm not saying would have changed the game because Liverpool again were world class at that point just afterwards. But the 3 subs are going to come on and don't come on and don't come on and don't come on. 3-1, you bring them on. The game's over at that point, Gordon.
Yeah.
That's down to the manager.
Yeah, I mean, to bring somebody like Scott Wright on when you go 3-1 down and then you know what you can see it coming. I mean, at 3-1, there's nobody in the ground thinking we've got a realistic chance of winning. And as much as I like to see players like Scott Wright get a chance, he's not going to come on against Liverpool and score a hat trick or set up 3 or 4 goals.
The other thing is, so just as you mentioned Scott Wright, I thought the best player on the park was Sakala, and he came off.
Sakala was, as for all we can talk about Sakala till blue in the face. He's no end product, but his performance against St Mirren merited his starting lineup, and I don't think he was far from the worst player.
Yeah.
He was the only player that seemed to have the self belief and self confidence to run at Liverpool defenders. So
the subs baffled me. He only really made the subs in the last 70 minutes that he always makes. The 2 substitutions he made before that, Leon King for Goldson, was because he had to make that sub, and then Ryan Jack get injured. Again, he's only making subs there because he's forced to do them. He's not making them for tactical reasons. So he's left it to 3-1 to try and change it, and he's brought 3 attacking players on, brought our best player in the park off at the time, and at this point Liverpool's running it. I'm thinking we're going to bring them on at 2-1.
Yes, I mean you can't. I mean I personally don't criticise Gio for making attacking subs, because if you're 3-1 down, then you've got to have that belief that you can get back into the game. But we've brought this guy in. We've brought Tillman in from Bayern Munich, and he's played for Bayern Munich. It's not as if he's not kicked about. He's not played a handful. He's only played a handful of games for Bayern Munich. But that said, you don't get a game for Bayern Munich at any age, at any level, for being a rubbish player. Yeah. But he's not coming on he's you know, this guy that's worth 5 million, and we're bringing on Scott Wright instead of him.
And that's something we've talked about for a while, that Gio's signings aren't featuring.
Well, this is the point that Graham Johnson's making, so it's a good thing to go on to that. So 50-50, both have not backed Gio financially. Yes, he spent $6.5 million on a left back who can't get a game. Lost 3 or 4 class defenders, never replaced the talent. Signed up Davis for another year, had his day. Our midfield's terrible. Tavis not the player he was last season. Lost 2 defenders due to injury. Tactics are boring. Squad's weak. Where does he go from now? So we'll just break that down a little bit. It's a great, you know, statement, a great point for
I don't think there's anything I disagree with that, and it's all just facts.
Yeah, it's very, very strange that we brought in John Suter, the I can never pronounce his name, Rizvan.
Yeah.
Rizvan and Ben Davis for a combined, you know, obviously Suter's free, but the other 2 cost at least 10 million, and between them they've played maybe
4 games,
3 or 4 games,
so,
and that's 10 million pound worth of talent, and it's very, 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 very strange.
Barisic had a nightmare. The last 20 minutes, Barisic had a nightmare.
Barisic had an absolute nightmare, but Barisic has come out and said that and apologised.
Yeah.
The next point you say about our midfield being terrible, our midfield's not our midfield is plain terrible, but we have got good we have got really good. I would say on their day, Ryan Jack, John Lundstrom, Glenn Kamara, and Stephen Davis are very good midfielders.
I agree with you, but more for the if you're talking about the Scottish League, they're great midfielders, and that's a good point. Yeah, but when you're talking about the Champions League,
I'm sorry, Sad. Kamara was last season. The season before, Kamara was bossing in the I know it's not the Champions League.
I agree with that. But what I'm going to say is,
Kamara was bossing it.
The problem you've got with Ryan Jack and Davis isn't the skill. They've got the skill and they've got the fight. They just don't have the legs.
And
Liverpool had the legs in that midfield.
Yeah.
They outran us.
It's a fitness.
It was men against boys with the last 20 minutes. It really was. It was terrifying to watch.
And now we've lost 2 defenders. So we've lost obviously Golson. We've got Hollander, who's out injured as well. We've got John Suter out injured as well.
Again, back to the management here, or the board, Gordon. Suter, we're being told now, they knew he had an injury when he'd signed again. Well, we're told it, and then he had to go in for an operation. So if he's had to go for an operation, why did he play for Scotland before it?
Yep. Guys, we've got loads of comments coming in, so we'll try and rattle through some as quickly as possible. Right, keep them coming in. We will discuss them as
we want to hear your
when
opinions on it, because you've got plenty of opinions.
Guys, if you want to give us a call and let us know your opinion over the phone lines, please do. Just all we do is we haven't got your numbers. If we have not got your number saved, just type your last number in the chat box so we know who it is, so we can stop anyone we don't want to phoning in. Okay. So a couple of quick things. Scott Wright should have been beat at Rangers. Big Shug, possibly, but I think he's the type of player that you play against your Ross Counties and St Muns.
He's a squad player.
To give somebody a rest.
One of the things I will say here, right, and I want to make it clear, I don't think it's an individual's point. I don't think any individual player is. It's no, we're not having a show tonight to slaughter one person or anything like that.
No, I think
this was a team effort from the board right down to the players, and it was an absolute nightmare for the club. So I think the fans that are concerned have got a right to question what's.
I've never ever understood blind loyalty.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people saying that we'll just stand by the manager no matter what, or you're not a supporter. If you really care about the club, you will
ask questions.
Questions.
And me, myself, Simon, I think you'll agree, I don't know, but we're not necessarily here saying that somebody should get sacked or somebody should get fined a week's wages for poor performance. We just try to get our heads around what is going wrong or what's going right. And and by the way, if you think everything's going right at Rangers, let us know as well.
Give us that opinion.
Yeah.
Some people are saying that there is an argument, Gordon. Again, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Napoli won 6-1 in Amsterdam, and Ajax are far more advanced in Europe than Rangers are just now because of I don't want to go down this line. I'm just mentioning it because it's a fact where Rangers have been. I don't think we should be looking at that anymore where we won the past, because we were in a Europa Cup final. But in general, Ajax are more advanced in the Champions League. They get an absolute annihilation, 6-1 in Amsterdam. So you can look at it and see these results happen. That's fine.
We are in a very, very difficult group.
And understand that. I think the worry is these results have happened quite a lot under Gio.
Yes, and if you look at his record in the Old Firm as well, it's what, 1 league point out of 4 games or whatever. And yes, the cup one was brilliant at the time, but again, 90 minutes was a draw. Extra time can be a lottery sometimes. So, but fair play to him, we got the result. But 4 league games without a win, and big games, European games. Yes, we got the Europa League final. So plaudits for him to that, but then we can't then sit here and say we can't give Gio the credit for getting us to Europa League final, and then sit here and say it's no Gio's fault we aren't performing this season.
Correct. You've got to take the good and the bad. The things that worry me when we went 3-1, the manager doesn't even come out the box. His technical area, it didn't seem any passion. It didn't seem a plan. It just seemed fear. The press conference, he looked like a rabbit caught in the headlights. He told you he didn't have any answers. And then he's tell you that, you don't know if this is true, but he's told you he didn't speak to the players after it because he didn't know what to say.
Well, sometimes that can be a tactic in itself, given the silent treatment, but
I get that, but what I mean, in general, it's a concern for his body language.
Well, could you imagine Rangers getting beat 7-1 at home under the management of the late, great Walter Smith?
Well, that's the thing. As I said, I don't want, again, people hear it when you say this, what about Gerrard? I know Gerrard's in the past, and I get that we're on a higher level, it's no Europa Cup. However, Steven Gerrard never lost any more than 2 goals as a Rangers manager, I believe.
Yep.
So even if you're only going back a couple of seasons ago, if Gerrard would have set them out a wee bit differently as well. You can't go out with these teams and play. The way we played in the last 10 minutes was basically schoolboy football.
Worse than schoolboy. I mean, it was like, I think we both played schoolboy football. It was worse than that. At least when you were in the school team, you wanted you weren't afraid to get the ball.
I was literally, I remember the guy behind me asking the question, how many goals is it? I can't keep up. I was the same. I'm like, I couldn't see the scoreboard because of the size of the way the main stand is.
Well, when I was trying to make the best of it, when I turned around to my mate Jason at 6-1 and I said, that's 6 goals to killer.
I mean, it really is.
So,
I was just hoping it was going to be next week's honour.
It was a 6-1 that was just, at 5-1 I still thought we could back in it. I told my mate Jason, I said, the 6-1 to kill it. Guys, I know somebody's wanting to give us a call, but you need to tell us who it is because we can't take the call otherwise.
Aye, I mean, back to what I'm saying. It's the manner and how Rangers lost it more than anything. If you're winning 1-0 against Liverpool and they're dangerous at this point because they really needed the result, you get the fact that at some point Liverpool's going to have a right good go at us. But to ship 6 goals in 15-20 minutes.
Yeah.
Mo Salah came on, no doubt about it, world class. And what a performance he put in. I'm not taking anything away from Liverpool. Well done. They gave us a spanking. And they'll do it to other teams as well in the Champions League. And wouldn't be surprised if they got to the final. But
well, you could easily see Napoli or Liverpool both getting to the final.
That's the other thing I'm going to come on to. We've got to go to Naples in a few weeks' time. And if we'd a full team, I would be feared. We've not got a full team.
We've got a full team injured. Simon's up. There's one of the viewers, Scott Ferguson, has made a big point. So we'll read this and we'll digest it and dissect it.
So people are asking who was the worst player. I don't want to go down that road. That's what I'm saying. I'm picking individuals out because if you think one person caused this,
it won't.
I kid myself on.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger picture.
One is a team, loses a team.
Yeah.
So Scott Ferguson, you've wrote quite a lot here, mate. So let's try and get through it. So if you look at the players who are not contributing. All senior players who expect big money moves when SG left, Steven Gerrard left. I think I think that's part of the reason why Gerrard left. I've been told through the grapevine that some of the players were told they were getting moves, like Kamara, maybe Morelos as well.
Agents talk, managers talk. You don't know.
Then you have the board who sent the club backwards. Like a commercial department who spend their time having wet dreams about fleecing the fans, but doing nothing to advance their brand globally. They're their answer to Evans, but bring out a new strip.
Well, I believe, now I haven't seen this because I've not stopped all day, I believe that one of the board left today again. And the guy from Hong Kong.
Well, there was the person that was pictured in the Liverpool end.
No,
he's left the club.
He got the sack, apparently. Yeah. Apparently one of the board members from Hong Kong was apparently rumoured to have left today. There just seems to be a lot of negativity behind the scenes, and as usual the fans don't know about it. It's a concern for me the way the club's operating. That's my biggest fear. That the board are supposed to be leaders. These guys get brought in, and the promises they would be transparent.
Yep.
I've never been so disillusioned by a Rangers board since obviously the days of the Stubbs.
The dark days.
If you're not calling it, if you're forgetting that, the David Murray era at the end there. Is this board any better than the David Murray era? I really don't think it is. That's my opinion.
Scott finishing off by saying they clear out at all levels.
But there's a problem
and the
there.
fans are bearing the brunt of all that's going wrong, and internally they're all hiding.
I don't disagree with that, Gordon, right, but there's a problem here, right? And it's the facts. You can't clear them out. One, there's a winter shutdown. There's no winter. We need to wait for the winter transfer in January.
Yeah.
You can't just sack players, right? I know you see, but what day, right? We're angry. Sack can't get rid of him. You can't. If you're going to get 2 or 3 million, or 4 million, or 1 million, or 500,000, you can't just sack somebody as much as we'd like to at times. And you can't buy players in unless they're out of contract. I understand what Scott's saying, but right now we've got that team and we need to keep them. We need to pee with the dick we've got, basically. Sorry about the language. That's a hand that will be dealt until January.
Yeah.
We can't clear it at all. And by January it could be where, but the season could be over by then.
But it could not be. We could be surprised. Everyone, we could win our next few games. But
what I mean is we can't clear it. We can't.
Yeah, you can't ever clear it. No, absolutely, you're absolutely right. And I've just got some stats as well. I was looking up some stats today about Rangers record under Gio, and I believe he's played 59 games, won 38, drawn 12 and lost 9. But that obviously factors in European games as well. So his record, I think he's got a 64% win percentage, which isn't great.
He had a fantastic start.
You need to take into account European games against, the likes of Dortmund, Braga, Red Star, etc., and obviously Liverpool, Napoli, and Ajax. So, but what worries me, and somebody made a point above. I do apologise not reading it out so far, but when it comes against the bigger clubs, Van Bronckhorst is frightened, or he's got no belief in. Maybe himself or the team. But
so let's go to the comments in Amsterdam, right? The manager has told us at the start of the competition, the start of the Champions League, first game he's told us we cannot compete at this level. That doesn't sound like a winner to me. He's probably right what he said. However, Gordon, do you want to hear the manager telling you that?
No. You keep those thoughts to yourself, and because it's demotivational.
I don't see how that can benefit the player. It's a cop out basically. He might, again, I'm not saying he's probably got a good point to make, but it's not a point that you make to the public. It's a point that you're in the Champions League, you draw whoever you draw, and you've got to do your best in it. Now, Scottish football in general, I don't really care about it, but shows you that Scottish football this week has showed you that in general our game isn't strong enough to compete in Europe at that level.
Yeah.
However, you need to fight and you need to at least give it your all. And it's the fact that the players gave up is what are upsetting the fans, and particularly me.
But, so this is the misunderstanding I've got, or the confusion over Gio in Europe in certain games. And if you look back at the Old Firm game last season when we get beat 2-1, we started strongly and scored the first goal and had a couple of chances. After that, if I remember correctly, we started strongly against Napoli and Morelos should have scored in the first 10 minutes. We started strongly against Liverpool
100%.
And took the lead.
So is it game management or is it players? That's the thing that would...
I personally think that when Rangers go out, Gio actually probably says, right, let's go and attack, let's get the first goal. But as soon as we get the first goal, I think
there's no killer instinct.
I think his tactics are, right, sit back.
Yeah,
because I've seen it. I've noticed it against Aberdeen a couple of times last season. I noticed it even away against teams like Ross County.
It's like a counter attack. Sit back and counter.
Yeah, he's basically saying, right, we've scored. Let's see if they can score now. And when you're even although we beat St Mirren 4-0 at Ibrox, which on paper you look back and go, that's a great result, or a good result at least. We played two defensive midfielders.
At times Rangers. A lot of people are kind of there seems to be this wee bit of the support as well. If Rangers win on Sunday, everything's going to be alright again, right? And again, I'm laughing at Rob Pickens' comment, right? The reason I'm laughing at it is it's
football. It could happen.
When you're a Rangers supporter, you always think the best, and you always think we can beat everybody and everything else. We're trying to be a realist, Rob, but at the same time, have a wee bit of fun in it. But I'm the same as Rob. I woke up on the Thursday morning, and I'm saying to myself, I'm feeling numb, Gordon, and I hadn't been drinking, as you know. Yeah. And I felt numb. I was up to 3 in the morning. And I was never felt anything like it. I couldn't comprehend it so much that I couldn't get angry. I just couldn't believe it. And I woke up in the morning and I was thinking, like Rab says, well, hold on a minute. I know it's horrible, I know it's rotten, but if we beat Ajax and we beat Napoli, we can still qualify for the Europa League, Gordon. But anyway, Then
Can you see us beating Ajax by more than 3 goals?
So then I'm saying to myself, can I see this happening? And I'm going, you know what, maybe it could. But as I got up, I got to my bed and I seen wee Lily the pup and shit in my carpet, and then I realised this is just a bad position here, and right, this isn't good, man. It just brought me back to life. Rangers to beat Napoli, I would be astounded if that team could go to Naples and win. I really would be. We could do it, obviously. And if we're saying could it be done, aye.
Will it be done though? That's the question. So Sunday, again we don't know your name because you're obviously posting through Facebook, but the gist of it is saying how can you say Lundstrom's a good midfielder? He's a big useless lump of wood. Now you can say Lundstrom's a good midfielder because he's played in the Premier. He was a star player for Sheffield United in the Championship, which is a good league. Obviously it's not the Premiership or Serie A or Spain or whatever or Germany, and he's went and played in the Premiership and played well enough for one of the best midfielders in the history of world football to sign him. So, and that,
I think
and yes, he had a slow start to his Rangers career, but you know his game against Leipzig and his goal that got us through to the final, I think that the evidence speaks for itself with Lundstrom. But it's your opinion, and I totally respect it. I think like the rest of the team, he's not playing as best as he can. But to call him a useless lump of wood is overly harsh.
Isn't it fair? As I say, I don't want to get down the road of picking individuals. So Gordon, my opinion on it, I think what a lot of people are concerned about is Lundstrom peaked last year. He was outstanding at parts of the season, but so was the whole team. Everybody was playing great, and when we were great, we were all loving it. I don't know if Gio's told him to play a different game, but it looks as if he's playing a more defensive, more. He's not a threat to the opposition. He's more trying to look after the defence, and I think his game's been affected. However, he's had a few stinkers this season, and he's not been the same player as he was last year. But most of the players in the team is the same. He's not the only one that's went down in form, but they're not dropping these players. Lundstrom, people told me at the weekend when I done the match report with yourself that we were wrong, or I was wrong, that Lundstrom had a great game. I didn't think he had a great game. He is still a fan's favourite. But Gio doesn't like to drop certain players.
Yeah.
And that is going to be his downfall. I said that months ago, if you remember. Being loyal to certain players is not going to help Gio win in the Rockers.
You shouldn't be guaranteed a game no matter what your name is. And I think that's maybe where he's went wrong with Kent a little bit. He has kept playing Kent and kept saying maybe this is the week he'll turn it around. A couple of points. Stephen Smith, best not to talk to the players after the game. Best to leave it until you can watch the game over and discuss performance with a clear head. Yes, I agree with that. However, I think you still have a chat with the players after the game as well. Maybe not rant and rave, but maybe just a small, maybe just a 5 minute, 10 minute team talk, and then you go, right, we'll dissect it in a couple of days' time.
Yeah.
Facebook user, so somebody is saying they tried to call. Okay, so thanks very much for your call. However, we've
not got a name.
We don't have a name, and we don't know who you are. So if you want to tell us your name and your last 8 digits, your number, feel free to call us back. AJ Craig, Tom Balogun. Now again, we've said this in the show.
I've not spoken about this, but it's right. But
yeah, he's won a QPR. So Michael Beals took QPR to, at one point they were top league. I think they might maybe third now, but just because other teams have played since then. But he's one of the best players. I think QPR have had 3 or 4 clean sheets in a row. He's
created a defence and a belief in his team.
Yeah.
This is the problem you've got, is see some of the things that are wrong with Rangers. They're blatantly, there's reasons for it. It's not as if you can't make them out. We don't have a defence now, but we've just sold. I mean, it's alright people saying, oh, we sold Bass and we get 22 million for him, right? What if we didn't sell him?
Yeah.
No, did we need the money that much? If the board came out and said we were desperate for the money, that's fine, but haven't they said that? Why would you... to me, a wee bit like Trevor Stephen. I don't know if you're too young to remember it. When we sold Trevor Stephen to Marseille, they were rivals at the time. Rangers, Marseille were one of the 2 top teams in Europe. As soon as you sell your best player, you weaken yourself, and then we go and play Ajax. I know that Calvin Bass is not in a great game now for them, but in general he's a great player. We weakened the team when we should have strengthened the team. 2 of the players, the other one's Leon Balogun, a great point. We've spoken about, I know I don't want to keep repeating myself because we have spoken about it. Leon Balogun was desperate to play for Rangers and we didn't want him on management, and now we're crying out for him.
Yeah.
And it's too late, it's too little, too late. Who's responsible for that?
Yep.
How much money would that cost Gordon? I mean, how much do you think it cost to get him when it's a free transfer?
But
Wages, 10 grand a week?
Not even that. Comparatively speaking, compared to some of the deals, very little. And you say to him, listen, we'll give you even 10 grand a week, but it's per game. Every time you play, you get 10 grand. And Balogun probably would have accepted
I
that.
think he'd a bit of hand if he's paid to watch Rangers. Now here's a scenario I don't want to even think about it happening, but we know Scottish football, we know the way people operate, and we've seen the tackle that went in young Lowry at the B team a couple of weeks ago. All it takes now is somebody in the Motherwell team or the next couple of weeks to say, right, I'm going to do one of the Rangers centre halves.
Yeah, we've got a whole team of injured at the moment. I mean,
that's a major concern.
Someone sent me a graphic today, and it was like a whole not even a team, but a good, strong first 11.
So that's
all injured.
Back to what we're asking me, Gordon. How did we get in this position?
Yeah.
How did that happen? What's wrong with the training that these players are all getting injured? That's another thing that people are worried about.
So David Stewart had to join you guys. Good as well. Colin Black, you've sent us a few comments, but I need to be honest, I couldn't really make sense of some of them. So if you want to resend us a couple of messages, then please do, mate. But good to have you on the show. Scott Ferguson, the planning for a clear out should start now.
I agree with that. Yeah.
There should be a continuous plan.
Yeah. No, I agree with Scott there. I wasn't knocking what you were saying. I was just trying to be a realist.
Yeah.
We all want answers now. We just can't get them. But I think we need to be looking at the worst case scenario. We're not going to get rid of the manager now, right? That's what's happening. Whether we want to keep him or get rid of him.
Yeah.
The club would have got rid of him yesterday if he was gone, and Gio would have went yesterday. So he's not going in the short term, but we still need to have a plan. What happens?
Yeah.
And I agree with Scott there. Sorry, so if that's what he meant, but what I was trying to say was, in 3 weeks' time, I thought we can't get that clear out.
Yeah. Gio's a yes man. Wilson picks the players. I
don't know if that's true.
I don't necessarily. I don't think it's quite as bad as that, but I certainly believe that he doesn't have a strong say in the transfers at the moment, anyway. At least.
Yeah.
Keep the zero is Gio's mantra. Not it doesn't seem to be working, but get your point. Why did Wilson let Kent, Alfredo contract run down? Wilson is going to cost you millions.
This is the things that we're asking. Why are these things happening at the club? The club was in a European final, Europa Cup final last year. This should have been a season where we were strengthening, making our mark on the Champions League. Whether that be just winning one game in it.
Yeah. Try and get complacency.
That's my point. Gordon, I don't like to go down the road of getting rid of boards and things like that. However, this Rangers board in the last 2 years have treated the supporters with disdain. They have treated the supporters club with lack of respect. They want rid of Rangers supporters associations and buses. They have upped the prices. They put the price up for the Champions League when they should have rewarded the supporters. They didn't have a beam back for the fans that couldn't get to the big game.
You need to go through. You need to pay hundreds of pounds in MyGers points to get a ticket for any game now.
The PR is awful. We've lost our PR man. Now people might not have liked David Graham, and I've criticised him quite a lot on this show. However, there's 2 Rangers boards, and I believe that David Graham tried to do a lot of things, and every time he tried to do them, the second Rangers board, the business side of it, told him it's not allowed. So, what the hell is going on behind the scenes at Ibrox? Because it can't just be the management that's an issue here. There's got to be more to it. Is Gio managing with his hands behind his back? Is he happy? I know he said he's happy, but he's then come out in the Champions League interview and said we can't compete.
Yeah.
That to me is worrying signs.
And then somebody said at the start of the show, he said he was happy with the squad at the end of the transfer window. So it's a contradiction. And
again, there's other comparison. We're 2 points behind Celtic in the league, and people are saying the league's winnable and that. See if Rangers Football Club are going to go to a level where we're relying on Celtic being rubbish, or that's our benchmark in our bar, then we're as well chucking it. That's as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Jane Ray saying Gio sits in the dugout, Alan Holden never out there shouting. I think his time is up. Sometimes he can be passionate. He's capable of being passionate, but the majority of the time you do see him with his arms folded, his head in his hands, or the body language. I think sometimes it can be okay, but I would agree.
There is another.
The body language isn't great.
There is another problem with this, Gordon. Even see the way things are going now with it behind the scenes with Rangers, and the players, if they have chucked it, it's going to be hard to get a manager in. It's alright saying sorry for people who say we get rid of Gio. If you get rid of Gio, you need to have somebody to come in.
Yep.
Who's going to come in if it's true a board that's not prepared to invest what it should be?
Exactly. Okay, guys, so we've got loads more comments. We are going to get through them as well as possible. What we'll just do now, in a few weeks' time, we're going to be hosting a fantastic dinner. I know that obviously the last couple of days haven't been great, so it's maybe not on everyone's mind at the moment. However, the Gers TV hosted one of the best dinners ever held in Ibrox history with the feedback we've gotten.
Yeah.
We've received, and it was an absolute pleasure to be a part of it. So we've been convinced to do a part 2. So if you see the advert on the screen at the moment, you can book your tickets for that now. Just pop us a message on the chat box or private message after the show or whatnot, and we'll sort you out with tickets. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night. The speakers that are going to be there are absolutely immense. We get a 4-course meal as well, and more importantly for all the supporters out there, when you walk in, you got the marble staircase.
Yep.
Up the marble staircase, the suites are open, and the trophy room is open till 10 o'clock as well. So please reserve your tickets now.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be as well, Gordon. I've not getting a chance to update you on this, but obviously, see, because we've got the Patreon site and the people that went to the last dinner,
yeah,
it's only going to be limited tickets available anyway. Because of that, because there's a lot of people wanting to go. I spoke to some of the speakers and just so you understand, but it's going to be a lot different for the last dinner. So Tom Purdy's going to be giving Rangers history on the end of the First World War and how Rangers went on for there, and the players that played in the war, played after the war or went to fight for King and Country. David Hurd's going to give us a history of Rangers in the League Cup, which you've been speaking to him about on the wonderful podcast.
Absolutely fantastic. That's what I mean, to listen to David talk about Rangers with all the facts and the historical stuff. That's worth it in itself. Yeah,
and we've also got Jim Denny, who was one of the Barca Bears. He's going to speak about the man who passed away 30 years ago today.
Yeah.
The great, legendary Willie Waddle.
Yep.
He's also going to speak about Colin Stein, Willie Johnson, the Barcelona 72 season. And he's going to talk about his time when he left Rangers, and he was one of the first people in world football to do match analysis.
Yeah, one of the things I didn't realise that he went to like Real Madrid, etc. So he's got a lot of stories. So and
he's also a massive, and I mean massive, Rangers supporter. So he's going to be really worth listening as well. Some fantabulous.
Well, that's a good word to describe it. Actually,
fantastic prizes to be won, and you're in Ibrox for 6, or it'll probably be 7 hours because it's a 1 o'clock license. If you can last the pace. £75 and you're getting a 4-course meal. So guys, if you do want one, don't moan it is in 2 weeks time or 3 weeks time
when it's sold out.
If it's sold out, because people tend to kind of wait at the last minute. I'm the world's worst for it. We'd love to see you there, and we've got loads of other events and projects coming up in the next 3 or 4 months. We did say we'd give Gers TV a massive go this year, and myself and Gordon, we'll help with Sandra as well and other people. We've got a lot of plans for the next couple of months, but we want to use people that have been watching us from the start and at any other time to be involved in it and be a part of it.
Okay, so if you'd like to book your ticket, let us know. Okay.
There you go. So back on the screen.
Back to the comments. Well,
so you stop picking your nose now.
I can stop. I can put my boxers back on. Jane Ray, and we've been touching this a wee bit earlier. I thought you would have brought us some good Dutch players over. That in itself is a strange one. They've went to, the American market, they've went to the Turkish market, the German market.
Would you agree with me that the Dutch are a stubborn nationality? And I mean, it's been stubborn with the advocate and people like that. You just expected Dutch people to come in. It just seems strange. That's the word I'm using. It seems strange to me that we're no shopping in that market. So Absolutely. That means, Gordon, that either Gio doesn't want Dutch players in, which I don't believe, or
the board don't want Dutch players in.
No, or Gio's not picking the players.
Yeah, it's that we keep going back to this. There's just something not right. Jonathan McCulloch is asking, is Gio the right man to spend money in January? Well, maybe he does. Maybe he's not going to say either way.
What's the comment at Utopia?
I don't know. Colin Black say. I saw Colin. I don't know. Obviously it's Friday night, so I don't know if you've had a tough week at work and a couple of beers. So
I think he means get Dave King back.
Rangers no Ross. Well, okay. So good.
Yeah.
Get Dave King back, but no to Ross Wilson and no to Craig White. Craig White left a few years ago, as far as I remember. Colin, if you, I know you've sent that message a few times, so
I'll just to dissect it for what I can do, right. Dave King is split amongst the Rangers support. I've got different views on him because he's a Rangers supporter first and foremost, and he was involved with the club when we won the 55 back and he left us in good hands, and you could argue the things have went downhill since then, although we went to Europa Cup final, it was still his regime. Since then there's been a couple of, you've heard stories and hearsay, and maybe there's been the angle that he's tried to upset the current board, but at the same time the current board clearly don't like him. We're looking just now, I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're looking to maybe contact Dave King and get a chat with him. There is a very good chance it's going to happen, a very good chance of that, but it would be an interview that they're basically just asking the questions that the fans want to know. We wouldn't be taking a side on it.
Yep.
But it would be interesting to hear Dave King's side to the story, and I think it's something that the fans would like to hear.
Ultimately, for me, the name, whoever's the chairman or the board, the names are irrelevant to me. What matters to me is, do they have the best interests of the club at heart?
But one of the things, Gordon, see the last couple of weeks in the game on Wednesday night, Dave King, whatever anybody thinks him, was the chairman of Rangers. He was one of the guys who, well acknowledged, won the club back.
Absolutely, yeah. And
he was banned, or I don't use the word banned, he was not allowed again in the director's box for a game like that, and he had to sit in the Cooper suite.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, this is the kind of thing, what's going on there?
Yeah, it's, for me, that's petty.
The current board have turned Dave King into the bogeyman.
Yeah, which is you know,
I don't
not
think
nice.
it's warranted.
Of course it's not warranted.
So I'm going to try and get an interview set up in the next 2 weeks where we can at least ask the questions. We won't be taking a side on it, but try and find a wee bit more about what's actually going on behind the scenes with Rangers Football Club.
Donna Robertson, Sunday Ready has said the board is going to dry. We're certainly trying. Susan Sweeney's watching for Liverpool, and there's a picture of a couple of Liverpool tops there. Susan, you're lucky Liverpool only playing us twice, because the third, if we played you again, or if we played Liverpool again, I think we would have won the third game. So.
Well, this one hangs of it. But you know, I don't mind rival fans coming on either, or she might be a Rangers supporter about Liverpool kids. We don't mind if they're respectful.
Yeah, no, listen, Susan Sweeney could well be a Rangers fan. Listen, see at the end of the day, Susan, it's great you're watching for Liverpool. If you're a Liverpool fan or a Rangers fan, it doesn't make any bones to me, as long as you're, you know, respectful and you.
The other point is, see when once it went to 7-1, I was actually thinking this is Sweeney when we're needing that Ibrox that time.
Maybe this Sweeney could investigate where our defence went. Rab Pick and remember, lads, the helicopter's changing direction. Rab, you've been very optimistic tonight about beating Ajax and Napoli and then winning the league, which is great.
He's made a very good point here, right?
We could do it.
He's made a very good point, Gordon, and this is why I'm concerned for the club. I can't wait till the World Cup now, because the World Cup's going to give us it might be the break that we're needing here.
Yeah. If we can just, Rab's right. I mean, we've got the saving, not the saving grace, but the good thing is the majority of our games between now and the World Cup are at home. Then the World Cup gives us 3 or 4 weeks to recharge, maybe get a couple of players back.
I'm still optimistic, and I still think we can win the league.
Of course, I mean, of course we can win the league.
The point of the matter is, right, and excuse my language here, but I'm straight to the point. See Rangers going to Napoli to play Napoli. With the form that Napoli's on now, they are outstanding. I'm tipping them to win it, right? That's just my tip. They're cruising it in the Italian league, the Serie A. They bossed all the teams in our group, and we're going to play them. So they're either going to be qualified and sit back, we hope, or they could give us a right good boot in the balls. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And
it could happen. I know that, but I'm saying the old no surrender stuff and all that. What I will say to you, Rab, is, when I'm watching that game, I'll be having a couple of beers, that's for sure. That's the worry. We could take a right good hiding off them.
Yeah, we're on. We're going to have.
I'm being a realist. I don't like saying
We're probably going to have Leon King and James Sand playing at centre back.
I mean, my tactics for that game is I would play 13 in defence. Can we let me do that?
David Stewart is saying bring in Kevin Thompson.
Well, that's been muted for a lot of times. I think as a coach or I think the argument was when Gio came in, get somebody like Kevin Thompson, Barry Ferguson as the assistant manager because they know the Scottish game, and I still think that's the case. Let's forget Liverpool right just now. Right, Ross County losing 2 goals last season in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not...
Go to Celtic Park, no expecting Celtic to go and run it is for the first 20 minutes. See, these wee things, a Scottish coach, an international coach should know, but a Scottish coach knows when you go to when you go to Easter Road, they're going to hammer you for 10 minutes. Wee things like that.
A Scottish guy at the club should know that these teams that play us, like Hibs at Easter Road, like Motherwell at Fir Park, for them, and Aberdeen at Pittodrie, for them it's a cup final.
Exactly. And it's happened to us even with some of the semis and things like that.
Yeah.
So I do think a Scottish influence on the... What I'm trying to say there is I don't think Kevin Thompson could be a Rangers manager just now, but I do think he would be a good addition to the
we'll
coaching team.
probably wrap things up in about 10 minutes. If you want to give us a wee call, I know a few people have tried to phone us in, which is great, but we're not able to identify who the caller is, so that's why we haven't taken any calls so far. But if you want to give us a call the next 10 we'll probably go on till maybe quarter to 10, so maybe 10-15 minutes or so, and
we'll
then
give it 15
we'll get
minutes.
some comments.
Liz, how you doing, pal? Liz McLaren's a great friend of ours, an ex-employee at Rangers Football Club. She knows the insides and outsides of the club.
Give us a call then, Liz, and let us know what's going on.
My opinion, very, very harshly treated. But what a great friend she was then and now to the Gers TV, and we do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Scott Ferguson is letting us know what hurts the most is Liverpool players must have thought how much they feel to let down fans like these. You can only imagine somebody like, you know, and what Andy Robertson must have felt, because, and even to a certain extent Virgil van Dijk, when, you know, obviously they're Celtic supporters, Celtic fans, and they've come up here and they've looked around and went, we were expecting a better deal here, a better game here.
Well, another thing, Gordon, the fans, the Rangers support was outstanding. See the build up to the game, the Union Bears tifo.
Amazing.
Brilliant. The build up, the fans and everything else. And I think it was you, Gordon, that asked me this question. I might be wrong. How did Liverpool get so many tickets?
Yeah, and I think it's a legal thing with UEFA, where I believe, I could be wrong, but I think that any club has to give the other supporters at least 5% of the tickets.
I thought they get a lot more than Rangers did.
I don't know
as a fact. It looked that way, that's what I was meaning.
Roddy Fraser is questioning why we've given Tavernier a new deal, and it's been rubbish and got worse since he signed the contract. Roddy, I think Tavernier is carrying an injury right now, so we're led to believe, so he shouldn't actually be playing right now. But I think they've been very harsh on him, because I think the manager is telling Tavernier not to go forward as much as he's used to be going. And Tavernier is, for as much as I like the guy, technically he's very good, he's very attacking, but he's not the best defender in the world. That's
what I was going to say. He's a great attacking defender, and he's not. I would say he's an average.
Yeah, he's much stronger going forward, and much the same as Kent. He's not been allowed to express himself truly on the park.
Yeah, but again, Gordon, what you said there, and we keep hearing these rumours, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. If Tav is carrying an injury, why the hell are we playing him?
Because he doesn't have any confidence in the...
Exactly. So if that's the case, why did we sell Patterson?
Because he wanted the money.
That's what I'm saying. So is it all about the money now?
I believe so, yeah.
Why are the club not telling the fans, look, here's it. If I don't think any Rangers fan would have a problem going. See if they come out and say, look, people have wanted their money back. The Europa Cup finals allowed us to pay people that were great to us to get us back to where we are. The club's going to be in a wee bit of dire straits for a few years. However, this is the way back.
Yeah.
And that's the scenario, guys. We're being honest with you. I don't think the Rangers support would be so upset.
At least when we could box it off and say, well, that's why it's happened. Like, how do we fix it now? A couple more comments. David Stewart is replying to David Stewart. Maybe Big Egg as no. Listen, I would rather have Giovanni Van Bronckhorst as the manager and the assistant manager and the coach than Alex McLeish as assistant manager. Not on a personal level. I think he's absolutely fantastic and he achieved some good things. But from what I've read and what I've looked into, some of his coaching methods are a little bit last century.
The thing with Alex McLeish, first of all, I know the guy. I've met him a few times. He's done me a few favours with the David Cooper tributes I done years ago. He's a lovely guy and a big Rangers man. However, Alex McLeish won't come to Rangers as an assistant. He's his own man and he would want to be the manager. As well as that, if you were meaning short term, it wouldn't be a bad shout if you meant for about 3 or 4 months. But we're looking at this is the future again. We need the next manager of Rangers or the current manager. We need to get things sorted. We've got ourselves back in the Champions League where we want to be. Now we're in it. We need to start moving forward. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. No. We can't keep saying this. Oh, look where we were years ago when McCoy's couldn't beat Aaron Athletic, and in my opinion, McCoist was the worst manager in Rangers history. History tells you that anyway. The dark days, we can't keep looking back and saying, look where we were 10 years ago. We're right here in the current day. The facts of the matter are Rangers get absolutely horsed by Liverpool. And that's a major concern because we're still to play Napoli. Celtic pumped us at Parkhead. Again, people can
Twice.
make excuses for it. I don't like the excuses thing. And one of the reasons that we lost at Celtic Park was no playing to the whistle. See this putting your hand up looking for a shy and a free kick and Celtic just carrying on. If you think Scottish football is going to start giving you favours, that's not going to happen. But the first thing you learn in football is you play to the whistle. So we are where we are. We need to be moving forward and we need to be doing this quick.
Yep.
Because
Yeah, absolutely. Susan Sweeney, first team Liverpool, second team Rangers. Okay, Susan.
fair enough, yes, fair
Well,
enough.
Susan, when we meet you in the Champions League final again, well, Europa League final. Sorry, we can't get through to the
We're
next
out
stage.
of
of that.
Champions League.
Aye, but Liverpool will get probably finished third behind Ajax, and we'll see you in the Europa League final.
But I
Carry
mean,
on.
to be fair, Liverpool showed their class in
Yeah.
the last 20-30 minutes of the game.
John Fraser's asking injuries. Is it
Aye,
just
John.
bad luck? One thing we have been good at for more years than I care to mention is producing sick notes. Possibly training, more likely expectation of playing for Rangers. Do you think it's holding us back? We're in an intense club of high expectations. It's possible players are breaking themselves in training and trying to impress. I think that there's maybe a small amount of truth in that, but the manager we'll go back to what's whatever. There's certain players that get a game no matter what, and they're maybe not as fit as they could be. Or if you play so many games, you're opening yourself up to injuries.
Yeah, first of all, John, well done. John won the Patreon draw. John won the Patreon draw for the Europa Cup final picture. Well done to John, and you'll get that when you're up in Glasgow. He stays down south, but he is a good blue nose, and he's got Scottish family. I don't know if John's actually Scottish, I think he's half Scottish. Anyway, John's got a good point, a few points here, but the first one, bad luck. That's the easy excuse, so John, that's the problem, bad luck. Why is it not happening to anybody else? The Conor Golson one was bad luck. That was probably trying too hard as well, and he was giving his all. I thought he was the man of the match at that point in the game. However, in general, some of these players we've been signing have already they've been injured. Suter, I've said it already, Suter will be lucky to play 30 games with Rangers.
Yep. William Moore's made some disparaging remarks about Douglas Park. We don't want to have that on the show, so we'll get you. It looks like you are a Rangers fan, William, but so I'd ask you to delete that comment. Otherwise, we might have to take some action because we don't want that.
We're trying to engage in a debate, guys. But we don't want to get down the road of personal abuse to anybody. Douglas Park's make mistakes. He did put money into Rangers. I'm not a massive fan of Douglas Park. However, I don't want to get down the road of personal abuse because all it does for us, we lose credibility, any credibility we've got left in the channel. And I get that people are upset.
If you want to come back with another point and we'll read it out, but I would ask you to delete that comment. Craig Baldry is saying that we all know that it's the board, where's all the money when I'm back in Geo. But you have to, if you're the manager of Rangers Football Club, you have to have the gumption to stand up to the board. If it is all the board, you have to have the, for want of a better expression, the balls to say to the board, not, I'm the manager, I'm in charge, back me or sack me.
Well, ultimately, is it going to be when his manager comes back later in a couple of years' time and says the board caused all this?
Yeah.
I really don't know, but the thing, the worry for me is, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about how great our defence was. Well, it seems like long ago now, but we didn't lose goals in anything, right?
No.
See when Liverpool got that corner, I know everybody turns around and goes, I knew that was going to happen, right? See, as soon as Liverpool get the corner, the first thing I said is, we're going to lose this.
Well,
we can't defend, and that's not getting better.
Tavernier was marking Firmino, right? Now, that Tavernier's not decided to do that. The manager and the coaching staff have said, Tavernier, you're marking Firmino. And that's how football works, okay? The players just don't go, right, they don't just go when it's a corner, right, or who will I mark this time, right? Now, Tavernier doesn't actually try to win the ball. If you look, it's painful to watch.
It's horrendous.
He doesn't actually try to win the ball, or he puts his arm on Firmino's shoulder briefly, and that's it. But Tavernier, we know he's not a great defender. Why is he marking their centre forward?
Why is there no man in the post?
So David Stewart, the board don't see us as fans, we're just customers. Yep.
100% agree with that.
Yep. You know, it's getting to the stage now we actually do get a Champions League point, and he's been a new strip for it to celebrate. Elizabeth's saying, well done, Si, great show, one of the few that are honest about the players.
Yeah, thanks, Liz. Again, Liz, the reason for it is we're just Rangers supporters, that's all it is. Somebody came on and had a go at me the day on the Facebook page saying that I'm a established fan media. I'm a Rangers fans partnership with the club, and we're trying to create a crisis. We're no media partnership, apparently.
We don't have any affiliation.
As Liz knows that anyway.
Yeah, we don't have any affiliation with Rangers officially or unofficially.
One of the big things I've done with Gers TV for I started it over 15 years ago was I talk the way it is in pubs. See the way you're on a supporters bus, whether it's the Fairgate Loyal, the Brigton Loyal, the Stuart McCall Loyal, the way the average fan talks, opinions about it, that's having a couple of beers a night.
Arthur Newman Loyal.
Or Arthur Newman Loyal, or all these great clubs or bars that I go to and Gordon goes to in Northern Ireland or whatever. We just talk it how it is and we tell you how it is. We're not going to go down this road of minding, it's a Friday night, minding my P's and Q's, and we're not going to go down the road of diluting our opinions because it might get us a sandwich in Ibrox Stadium or anything like that. We're not expecting anything.
We're supporters first and foremost, and you've got to you've got to be able to ask questions. It's not, you know, we're not living in a dictatorship where
ultimately we want the best for Rangers at all times.
Absolutely, and you know, we might disagree on how to get there, but you know, with anyone out there, but we do. Hopefully we all want the best for Rangers. Now, if that means that you show if that means in your opinion you show blind loyalty to the board, fair play to you. But for yourself and me, Simon, I think it's about asking those questions and, you know, making sure that
and giving the fans a chance to have an honest debate on it.
Voices are getting heard. Scott Ferguson saying, great show guys, always balanced, always honest, the most engaging for the Rangers channels. Thanks very much for that, Scott. We try our best. But Simon's hit the nail on the head. We just try to have an open conversation, and that's all it is. It's a conversation between, you know, whoever's doing the show and yourselves.
A lot of the things we talk about, they were talking about in the Bristol bar, the Loudon, the pubs in Brighton, Govan and whatever, that's what they're talking about after the game. Exactly what we're talking about. People are concerned. We met some members of the Brighton Loyal after the game.
Yeah.
Again, private conversation, I'm not going to get into it, but these guys are concerned as well. These guys are running a supporters bus. They're trying to bring a supporters bus from Brighton close to Aberdeen, and they're getting 2-3 tickets.
Yeah.
And they're getting no engagement with the club. Yeah, if you're a sponsor or if you're a corporate, you're getting as many tickets as you want. Somebody I met, again, nothing to do with the Brighton guys, that it was in Liverpool, and he was telling me that, and I like Fashion Sakala, I've not personally with a player, but he was telling me one of his relatives got 15 tickets for the game at Anfield. And he said, I'm telling you the news, Simon, I was there. He watches the show again I'm talking about. He said, I was there when I seen them getting the tickets. How can that be fair when there's guys that have followed the club all their life, can't get a ticket? I would have loved to be in Anfield. I would have loved it. It's the one place I want to see Rangers in. And players are getting 15 tickets. How are the board able to justify that? Yeah,
because I think they would rather some of the fans weren't there. Stuart Beck saying at this point, it looks like the board is not really giving a toss, same as Douglas Park. I think the board, you won't get the board resigning. You might get them bought over by, you know, a consortium or, you know, other people, but they won't resign. When people get their foot in the door at Ibrox, they like
there's a great point you're making there, Gordon. A great point. See, millionaires, maybe billionaires are worse for it, but millionaires are notorious for this, right? I've only met Dougie Park once in my life, and that was at Milan when there was no fans allowed in the stadium, and somebody's got into Milan, and I met him that day. And he seemed he seemed a fair enough guy, a nice guy, but in general, what you find with millionaires is they've got pride and they're quite arrogant. No Dougie Park, all millionaires. David Murray, I'd met David Murray 5 or 6 times, classic example for it. If you're saying that the board resigned, Douglas Park won't just resign from Rangers Football Club. That's never going to happen.
No one's going. That's not going to happen.
And if fans ask him to resign, he certainly won't resign. Yeah. What he might do, he
might sell.
He wants his son, Graham Park, to be the chairman, right? Whether you agree with that or disagree, that's what he wants. He's not just going to. This guy's been a ruthless businessman all his life. He's not going to turn around and fall because a pack of cards, because a couple of 100 fans are angry. And he's also got pride. Now, Douglas Park and Dave King, as we know, we don't know much about it, but we know there's been a disagreement, and Douglas Park and Dave King don't like each other. So Douglas Park's not going to just leave and let Dave King come in.
Yeah.
Because the first thing Dave King's going to then do, I'd imagine, is, Well, if I'm not allowed in the boardroom,
No, you're not allowed in the boardroom.
no,
Yeah.
sorry, the director's box, you're not allowed in. These people have got their own wee battles they want to win as well. That's what I'm trying to say.
So William Moore, I want to read this out as well because you're saying it's a major concern about the pump, and the difference is we have Sakala and they have Salah, whose wages are entire squads for a week. Gio is right, we can't compete with that. Well, for a start, most Salah might be on 300 grand, 400 grand a week, but that's not the entire wage for the Rangers squad. Okay, now it's not. I don't think you're too far off with the comment, but
Yeah,
I can see.
the narrative.
I can see exactly what you mean. However, we're not saying it's a major concern about the pumping. We're not. The 7-1 defeat against Liverpool is a combination of the games against Celtic, the other games in Europe, the away games against your Ross Counties and Aberdeens and
So
Hibs.
you can argue, right, that's a great point, and there's no getting away from what he's saying is correct, right? We cannot compete.
In isolation, yes, he's
Right.
absolutely right.
But
But
if-
when you take everything all together,
Richard Gough famously said, football's not, sorry, the dog here's playing about with us, I'm trying to talk.
yeah,
Blame the dog for everything.
he has. So by the way, just so you know, Simon has actually got a dog. In case if you can't see, I don't know how low the camera goes.
No,
but
I want to show that here because I was rambling a wee bit. There's Lily there, in case you can't see her. Right, get
There's
up.
Gers TV's new mascot.
Right, reading the fart again.
Looks a bit, they do actually look quite similar.
So Richard Gough did say that years ago that football isn't played on paper, it's played on grass. Although in Scotland sometimes it's played on plastic pitches.
But then if it's just William, so again without going too much against you, William, your point, because in one sense you're 100% right. However, how can Ross County draw 4 each was then?
That was the point I was going to make. If the gap in football is always down to money, then technically speaking, Rangers should be beating some of these teams 8-9-1 on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I think that 11v11 in the park it's a hard argument to say that Rangers should be able to compete against Napoli. When I've watched them, Napoli are, in my opinion, world class. Liverpool aren't far off it. But you can give them a game. You can do the Walter Smith and you can shut the shop up.
You put your body on the line. If the Rangers players in the last 10 minutes had threw themselves in front of the ball to block shots, now they wouldn't have scored 2 or 3 of the goals.
If they just cleared their lines,
so
it's basic schoolboy football.
Yeah.
Rangers don't just become a bad team. It doesn't matter how good Liverpool are. Rangers don't become a bad team overnight in the last 20 minutes of a game.
So William, I keep going back to it because it's you're making a fair point. It's all about opinions. So I do agree on what you're saying, but I do think that it could be the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't care if you're playing, Barcelona or Liverpool or Real Madrid. You don't get beat 7-1. I mean, look back to the game against, as you said, Simon, with Barcelona.
Yeah.
Barcelona's squad would have been paid, on 10 times as much as Rangers squad, but we still got a point that night.
I hate making this point, and I'm going to make, but I need to make it just because I need to answer the question again as well. If you're going to say that Liverpool's such a great team, which we're agreeing they are, then you could also argue that Real Madrid, who have won the European Cup more than, or the Champions League more than any other club, they didn't horse Celtic at Parkhead because Celtic shut the shop up.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what my point is. I don't want to use that analogy, but these teams might be a class above us. So you need to combat. Walter Smith had it right. Listen, it might be the most boring football in the world, but you're not getting that. You're not.
Tell you what, if we play 6 games in the Champions League and we play boring and qualify for the next round or the Europa League last 16 with 6 points, I'll take that. I'll take the boring football.
Now, there is another argument here as well that Walter Smith got beat 5-1 and 4-1 with Juventus. That's one of the best footballing teams I've ever seen in my life, and some of the goals, rather than let me score outside the box.
Yeah, Del Piero up against, as much as I love him, Alec Cleland
Cleland.
and whatnot, do you know what I mean? So, but it's just the same as there was a mismatch in Wednesday night when we've got, players like Sakala, who's not, the most experienced, coming from, the Belgian club into Scotland and not maybe set the world on fire. So let's go back to William Moore's point. We totally get that. All we're saying is, can we not at least expect a bit more desire, a bit more fight?
Yeah. And here's the point, right? See if we're going down the road, I would expect to be getting 7 or 8-1 with teams are 5-1 and 4-0 and all that. What's the point of competing?
Yeah. Or why are we not doing the same in our games against the Ross Counties and Dundee United? Why are we time wasting at Ibrox in the last minute against Dundee United, get a corner kick, and then they go up the park with it and nearly score from their own corner within 30 seconds?
And a third point, just to combat as a different angle. Right, Liverpool, fantastic team. Napoli, fantastic team. Ajax, fantastic team. And we didn't know who we were going to play. Fair enough, we're only 10 days or something after we qualify for the Champions League. I get all that. But we were in the Europa League final, nowhere near as good a competition as Champions League. I get that, but if you're in a final, after the final you strengthen, you don't weaken. We weakened and just happened to draw some of the best teams you could possibly draw in it. So any chance we had against them, it became impossible, and that goes down to the board, because the board weakened our defence. See the 22 million they got for Calvin Bassey. They must be proud of got that 22 million, because Rangers have got one goal in the Champions League now because of the defence.
So we're going to finish up in a couple of minutes. So we'll just finish off with some last comments. So Rab's asking, do you think Park thinks he's bigger than Rangers support and he can't be voted out? He needs to think again. But he's asking, do you two lads think that he's the Messiah? No one's the Messiah when it comes to Rangers.
Dougie Park.
Everyone's not beyond criticism or reproach.
First of all, Rob, a couple of things on that point, right, I'll make. Dougie Park is without a doubt a Rangers supporter, with a Rangers supporting family and a Rangers supporting background, and he's been involved with Rangers for many years, left and came back, and he's put a lot of money in. I've already said that I don't think he's the man for the job, and I think if he took his money back, which the rumours are going about, I think he's quite entitled to have done that, and probably quite right to have done it. But they should have just come out and been transparent with the fans, because that's why we got these guys in, and we fought to get them in, and that's what the promise is, transparency. I don't think his personality suits being the chairman of Rangers. That's just a personal thing. His biggest battle in the last 5 years was against Singe, and that was Parks v Singe, not Rangers v the media.
Yes,
there was
a bit of self
indulgence, and because of that, Rangers was humiliated by when we won the 55 that we'd waited all those years for. We didn't have a proper celebration. We had a wheelbarrow bringing out the league trophy at the first game of the season last year. So as a chairman, I don't think Dougie Park is the man. I certainly don't think he's the Messiah. What I'm trying to say is I don't think it's going to be that easy to remove him, whether I want to remove him or no. That's the issue. I'm going to try, as I said, have an interview in the next 2 weeks with Dave King, and I'm going to ask some of these questions, and I'm going to ask the fans to give us questions.
Absolutely, yeah. So absolutely not about the Messiah. I think Messiah's made some great points. Again, we're not privy to what goes on behind the scenes, and is it, how easy or how hard is it to vote somebody out? I guess that once you become Rangers chairman, you position yourself so it's extremely difficult to get voted out.
Yeah. Well, for an example, he brought his son in, Graham Park, so that's somebody's. Yeah. You're not going to vote against your dad, right? Same as he when they vote against his son, right? That's just natural. Yeah. If my dad was the Rangers chairman, or whatever, or man in my family, I wouldn't be going against him. So that right away, and you put your own people on the board. That's how it works.
Yep.
We're only minions here. We don't have a chance of getting these guys out. You just need to hope that they want to move it.
Yeah. Well, it's a couple of points. So William Moore's coming back and he's saying they made 5 subs, and the 5 subs could walk into every team in Europe. Couldn't agree more. And their 5 subs made the difference. Yeah, that's it, William. I'm not to misrepresent myself or argue with you at all. I totally agree with what you're saying. You're absolutely right. However, the point I'm making is that as Si said about Richard Gough, it's not always on paper. If you play your heart out for 90 minutes, you play your heart out for 90 minutes, or you put your body on the line. I mean, when I play football, somebody hits a shot, I throw myself at the ball. Do you know what I mean? So you didn't see that.
Well, at no point have we saying, or have we said that it's an equal footing and Rangers should be good at competing against these teams. We know that we can't compete against them. So weakening your team doesn't make sense. Weakening it makes it... Obviously, if you're going to take a right good down, if you weaken your defence, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah.
That's the issue we're making. We know the 5 subs were better. I've already said I think that Liverpool, over that last half hour, were world class.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't make it any acceptable for us to just chuck it.
Yeah.
You're getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
You do your job.
Yeah, John Fraser's saying that... and now,
he means
I think that Bournemouth, so Liverpool this season, they spent how much on Solanke, who was actually linked with Rangers. Yes, the difference is that Bournemouth didn't get to the Europa League final last season. They've not won 55 league titles. Bournemouth, comparatively speaking to Liverpool, is like us playing against Ross County as well. So they're absolutely fantastic. Team Liverpool, and they can give anyone a game on their day, like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man City, Arsenal, whoever it is. However, go back to this. It's the same that if the manager motivates the players and the players play at the best of their ability, we should be able to compete better than what we did, and that's all we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, again, it all comes back to what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, and I'm still reiterating this fact. Forgetting the management for a minute, when it comes to the board, the fans will accept losing games and at the highest level of football.
Yeah.
And we don't expect to win every week, but we were promised transparency from the board, and we're not getting that. Bringing out strips every other couple of weeks, and every time, this will not just be me, every time I open up my Google Mail email account, I've got a Rangers promotion on there selling me something.
Yeah.
You could argue that's good business and everything else, but that's only because we're treated as customers and nothing else. That's
Yeah.
why the fans are unhappy. To lose all those players and weaken the team when we're going into the Champions League after watching us all those years, and then to
Yeah.
put the prices up. Now, my season ticket is £700 in the main stand, and I get
Same.
moved
Oh.
to a seat which got a pillar in front of me. So
Yeah.
I've got a restricted
Restricted
view
view.
that's £15 dearer.
Yeah.
So the fans are not getting a fair deal. The fans have got no voice. They're not being heard. We've not got any PR. Our PR man's now been sacked, even though he was made to resign, basically. And using things like his family that just to basically soften the blow. It's not right. The fans are getting a bad deal out of all this, and at the same time, the product on the park is worrying.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that people are concerned about, and the fans need answers.
So, for some fantastic points tonight, and William, yeah, absolutely good. You know, we would rather you were sitting there making some points rather than staying quiet. So thanks very
No,
much.
thanks,
It's
we're not arguing either.
Yeah.
I guess you get heated and passionate with because we
but
love the club.
But you're very respectful. We're real respectful, and I think if we look back, we'd probably agree on some of the points. But
Yeah.
again, it all goes down to just can we compete more? So we have been not
Just
it's
laughing,
not-
sorry, Susan, just saying Liverpool's not been playing that in the Premier League.
Aye, well.
Rob Salt right in the rings.
Aye. Doesn't make it any better, Susan. But it's good to have you watching anyway. So we'll probably wrap things up there. But before we go, let's try and finish on a positive. We always try and do. I always said that in my career. I've always tried any meeting in like let's finish on a positive. Prediction for maybe not. What's your prediction for Sunday night against Motherwell?
I think Rangers will come back. I think they'll come back and they'll make a statement. I think Rangers will win the game 3-1. I'm very confident they'll win, and I hope, because if they don't get a win on Sunday, there's going to be another Thursday night show, Friday night show. Everybody's really going to be then on the manager will be under severe pressure. However, I think they'll respond. I don't think somebody accused us of a crisis by having this show tonight. This is a channel that wants to talk about the good and the bad of Rangers when it happens.
Yep, absolutely, couldn't agree more. I'm going to go for a tight game on Sunday with both teams being a bit nervous, but I'm going to go for 1-0 to Rangers.
And I'll also say Kolak to score 2.
What, 1-0 to Rangers, Kolak to score 2?
3 man, I
How
says.
does that work?
3 man, I went. I think Kolak will come back.
For your prediction?
Aye, for mine, I know yours are not caring, yours are, as long as mine is right. Guys, remember we do the Patreon site. I'll put the details on that now. We had a couple of winners at the weekend.
Yep.
And as well as that, we've got another couple of people want to sponsor the channel to make it bigger and better. A lot of plans for the next 3 or 4 months, trying to up the game again and give you a better fan experience.
Show.
Thanks to guys like Maxwell at the heart of it, the
Northern
petrol
Ireland
stations
petrol
of
station, yes.
Northern Ireland, who have been sponsors of us. We thank them, and all the other sponsors in the past. We'll be back on Sunday. We'll have a wee chat pre-match and after match. If anybody's getting spare tickets, we need 2.
Yeah, so if anyone is looking, any sports clubs out there looking to get a couple of tickets sold or travel on the bus, let us know. Message the page, please, because we will snap them up in a heartbeat. And
apologies if anybody phoned us tonight, we never answered, but we couldn't take chances with it.
Yeah.
Well, I better not start using names because I've had 2
kids. Aye, so always remember the famous phrase, we'll be back on Tuesday night for a normal, regular live show. In the meantime, always remember, we are Glasgow Rangers and we are
the people.
Good night.